Good morning, Superkickin' with Stephen and Greg fans. Your favorite host right here, the Greg one over there, Stephen A11A1 right here, ready to give you the latest and greatest in WWE, AEW, NXT. We have new AEW Owen Hart Cup winners. We have a new NXT North American Champion. We got matches set for SummerSlam. We are moving towards All Out and All In. We got NXT coming up in about a week or so with the Great American Bash in Texas. Lots to talk about. It is moving through summer, and here we go, Greg. How in the world are you doing today?
Good. It's been a busy week, but managed to get all my shows in. I'd say one thing, it's a whole lot of content with the extra Saturday viewing that we have now. Rampage is kind of fallen by the wayside for me. By the time we get through Dynamite and SmackDown and catch up on Collision, and we had Battle of the Belts. So it's like, okay, what did I miss? Oh yeah, Rampage. So I think Rampage has become a casualty of war at this point. But I'll get back to my Rampage viewing. But it's been a busy week, but great wrestling week. So no complaints here.
Yep. Then we're moving into NFL training camp season. That kicks off. The Colts go to camp on Wednesday, so which will line up right with me going back to work, Greg. So what a way to go back to work. So we'll kind of see that. When do your Chargers start this week as well for training camp?
Yeah, I believe we may have started camp this past week.
Okay.
I think we're one of the first teams to go back to camp. So
okay.
All the promise in the world. If everybody can stay healthy, we'll be dangerous. But that's always been the big question with us, and it's never been able to work out. So, we go in optimistic as always, and then reality punches us in the face, usually by week 2. Yeah. So, here's hoping.
Tough season too. There's a lot of good teams.
Yeah.
We'll see if Mahomes can continue his ascension into he's starting to reach greatest of all time talk already, Greg, which is crazy to think. He's got 2 championships, right? Or does he have 3? Just 2.
I think
right?
It's just 2.
Okay, yeah.
But it's too early to put him in GOAT status. Yeah. There's too much that can happen between now and then.
That's true. Yeah.
And I'm still expecting my guy to surpass him. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we shall see. So I think Aaron Rodgers showed up to Jets camp today. So yeah, the wheels are moving. The NFL never stops, as they say, but wrestling never stops either, Greg. So I kind of put these stories together because I think we saw a little bit of it last night. This is according to Boozer Wrestling Extra. So WWE is considering a babyface Latino champ. I think we saw that last night in SmackDown because you have Santos. Sorry, I had a few names on my brain, and I was like, I know it's one of these. So Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio will be facing each other for the right to face Austin Theory, Greg. And then I think Escobar even beat Theory. So crazy to see that. Mm-hmm. But then we also got the news that maybe LA Knight's push. Greg, it keeps coming. This will begin after SummerSlam. So, we'll start with and Santos Escobar. I mean, it looks like they're really going to, I think he's, as much as we want LA Knight to get that U.S. title, Greg, I think after last night, it's all Escobar's, right?
Well, I'm still a little skeptical about it because LA Knight is so white hot, and they even termed it on the last night's show, calling it the Yeah movement.
Yeah.
And everybody's down with it. I saw the all the Yeah signs in the audience. Everybody's chanting it. In other people's matches, people are chanting it. So, he is smoking hot, and it's not because he's winning every match. It's because he's out there. He looks great. He sounds great. And people have finally gotten behind, the whole gimmick, 100% of, all the way around. It's the same thing he's been doing since TNA, long time ago. But it took that long for it to filter into the WWE universe.
He never won a big title in TNA, did he? Or Impact, I don't think.
I don't think so. I mean, for the amount of time that I watched him live, he never really had a championship, but he had all the eyes on him. He was one of the biggest stars in TNA, so he didn't need a championship. But
then his short run in NWA, I don't know if he ever got the NWA title. So it shows that he can do it without a title, like you were saying.
Yeah, and so
yeah.
You know what?
Unattended.
He is one of the hottest stars in the company right now, and everybody wants to get a title, and they're just doing a great job of just dangling that carrot. Like he's about there, and then moving the carrot further.
Will it get too much though? Will we keep waiting sometimes for those guys to finally get it, and then it doesn't feel as big.
It can, and that's what they need to.
Yet?
Not yet.
Yeah,
that can happen. We've seen it happen, hundreds of times, but that's what they need to make sure that they avoid because, talking about a guy who's a top guy without being a top guy. He's not in the top matches right now, but he is one of the most must-see guys on Friday nights next to Roman Reigns. Yep. He gets the biggest pop of the night. I mean, even, on last night's show, that final segment, Roman and Jimmy didn't get a biggest pop as when he came out for his match. So they got to be careful with how they do that and, make sure they reward it at the right time.
And they are giving him the mic time. Like, he was the only one who talked.
Right.
Before that match. So, I don't think we've reached. I know some people are thinking we've already reached that point, but I mean, it still feels kind of early that he's even kind of getting pushed, like even in this type of moments, So it's interesting. Maybe looking last night, I was surprised to see Cameron Grimes back, Greg, after his little, beating Baron Corbin and getting that quick win, but I kind of thought maybe they might sneak in. Cameron Grimes as a winner there and, maybe give him a title shot just because I don't think he needs to win it. But I think we agreed that Theory probably needs to lose to whoever, right, at this point?
Yeah, I mean,
that's the downfall.
Exactly. I think Theory's had a good run, and this was all about his character change, going from being like the goofy guy to serious and more aggressive and stronger personality. And they've done a great job of that. His heel change it was on the fly, it was on the move, but he was amazing at it. And now we buy him as the character that he is now, as opposed to the guy that was in the way 6 months or however long that ago it was, and when he came up to the main roster, it was kind of the narcissist character. So he's transformed from that character to this character, and we bought into it 100%. And he's shown out in that respect. And he's had a good run, so props to him. But I can see they already had Santos beat him in a non-title match, and so they're putting the writing on the wall. Having a Latino champion, I don't know what significance it is, but maybe it's about representation. So I love Santos. I wouldn't mind seeing that, but it just feels like with Santos and Ray, something's up. Because Ray left his match injured. Injured.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if this match is actually going to go off, and we're going to end up with LA Knight getting slid into that position in Ray's position, maybe.
Or whoever's maybe all the three, maybe just another 4-way. You could just put the, Cameron and Sheamus again in there. And I think it was telling too for Theory. It's a little thing, Greg, but they did, they had him by the commentary table, but maybe I'm just reading too much, but they didn't give him mic. And I think that's always telling. They gave Bailey a mic when she was out there, for the or she get the headset so that she could talk. But I don't know that seems telling to me, because usually guys you're not that high on, you're just having them out there. You're not you didn't give them any mic time at all. So I think that's something to say as well. And it's probably going to be back to the drawing board with him, I would think, right after he loses. So
yeah, they've been decreasing our exposure to theory for the last few months,
and that's not a good thing, I think.
Right.
But he now the other side is, I think he's 25, 26. He's not close to 30 yet, so he's plenty of time. If you want to revisit him down the road, but I do think like you said, we'll see less and less of him as we go. But a guy we're hoping to maybe see more of, and I don't know where it's going to be, Nick Aldis, Mickie James's husband. Nick Aldis, NWA champion for ever and ever and ever and ever. A short run in Impact Wrestling recently, but that's already done, Greg. Obviously, interest in both. I feel like this is my sports metaphor of this is trying to get that last big contract. Because he's older. I want to say he's 40s because I know Mickie James is in her 40s. So you got to think this is kind of his this last shot. Get a good 4 or 5 year contract and show out as much as you can. Then re-sign. If you whatever. But I'm probably leaning towards more AEW because if WWE seems to always be like. They're not big on older guys. I mean, they were saying LA Knight's older. They were going to make Adam Cole a manager, and Adam Cole's like mid-30s, if that. So I can't imagine them pushing Nick Aldis like he should, because he did a lot of good things for NWA. I mean, that was the reason. If you tuned into that was your reason to tune in. Eli Drake, LA Knight was there. I think during some of that time that he was there too.
Yep.
So they crossed paths. And I think Nick Aldis was on TNA earlier on in his career. So now it's his chance, to finally make that real leap and, get some eyes on him and see what he can do. But I think the leaning is towards AEW. I think they would do more with him. I think I think WWE would try to use him backstage-wise, Greg, because he probably has a good mind for the business, obviously. But I would be afraid if he wouldn't get a chance to really showcase what he can do inside the ring in WWE, and maybe Triple H is high on him. Maybe that's a good reason. But any thoughts on Nick Aldis or anything on that end, Greg?
Yeah, I haven't watched anything Nick Aldis has done recently as far as being in NWA or his recent run in Impact. But I remember him from previous Impact runs when Impact was super hot and they had the X Division was hot and they had big stars in there. Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Dixie Carter was running the place into the ground, but they had a great section of characters. They had the LAX faction. They had Hogan coming through, and they were doing lots of great things. And Kurt Angle was there, Sting was there, and they were really doing a great job with their characters and the storylines. And then I was there doing Broken Matt Hardy, Eli Drake, like you mentioned. So they had great crop of guys. And at that time, he was known as Magnus. During that time, and he was having great matches. He was teamed with another British wrestler whose name I can't remember, but they had a great tag team.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Williams.
that's it. Yeah.
And I think he got hurt, and I think that's why he never was able to carry on. But I thought there was a big European influx of talent there for a little bit in DNA Impact.
There was, and he, as Magnus, he was great. He was great as a heel. He was great as a babyface, and I enjoyed his heel work more because he sounded more natural on the mic as a heel. And just as a babyface, he sounds like every other babyface in the world. So I enjoyed him as a heel more, but his in-ring was great. His style was great. So I enjoyed watching him. All his matches were great. Um, so I can imagine he's gotten any worse. He's probably, stayed, stayed true to, who he is and is just as good, if not better than he was then. So
Yeah.
that being said, I think that he'd be better off in AEW just because the AEW public is more likely to know who he is coming in than the WWE public. And like I said, if he wants that last big contract, who's going to pay him more money? I think probably Tony Khan. Yeah. And those, it's more ready made for him to walk in than, come into WWE and have to debut on NXT or something and have to reintroduce himself to people who never even watched TNA when he was super hot or watch NWA now or whatever. So I agree that AEW is probably the better spot for him.
Oh, he's actually only 36 years old. A little bit younger than I thought. I wonder if Mickey James is older than him. But I was going to say, too, maybe for all in London, that'd be a good signing to have, as a big debut, especially in England and, pushing that in. So, because you ain't getting Drew McIntyre from us.
But, that's true.
At least for now. Next year, though, who knows? So, so those are kind of the big stories I saw. Obviously, the Nick Aldis story can kind of go for AW News and this. I did bring up Ring of Honor for our results, Greg, because I saw Death Before Dishonor was trending, so I put the results for that for our AW talk. But we'll get into Raw and SmackDown and NXT here first. Kind of give some thoughts on that. A lot of stuff on Raw, of course, because, it's the 3-hour show and you get a lot more going on. Brock Lesnar keeps getting the better end of Cody Rhodes, Greg. So that is very curious to me because, I guess Cody was going to win all along because Cody probably should get better at this. And we still haven't heard any stipulation added to this. So do you think we're still getting that stipulation added, or are we just going to get a wrestling match that maybe bends the rules when it needs to?
No, there has to be a stipulation. It's been, too heated a rivalry to just finish with a basic wrestling match. It's got to be a 2-hour 3 falls, or falls count anywhere, no holds barred, maybe a lights out match. WWE isn't big on doing lights out matches, but this would be warranting of a lights out match. And then just, adding to the gravity of the moment that, WWE is not responsible for whatever happens after the lights go out. That this is the great match to do that. So yeah, I think that stipulation is definitely coming. So we're 2 weeks away from SummerSlam, so I expect next week that we're gonna get whatever the condition is going to be.
Yeah. We have this week and next week. So yeah, we still got a little bit of time, but I was just surprised we haven't got anything yet. So, and we'll see if maybe Brock isn't there this coming Monday. Maybe he's there the week of SummerSlam. So. A big match we're going to look forward to is Gunther and Drew McIntyre. We'll get a face-to-face with them, Greg. So not really much to say there. I think they'll put on a banger of a match as usual. And I think Gunther's going to keep rolling. I think, less than 40 days away now from Honky Tonk Man's record. So that's awesome to see. We needed these longer title reigns to really prop up. And Gunther is a perfect, IC champion. And hopefully this time next year, Greg, I think he should be in the world title picture, though. What do you predict for him down the road?
I'm loving what they're doing with Gunther, keeping him strong and just making him this, unbeatable monster. It's fitting of his station, going all the way back to NXT UK. And they've stayed true to that narrative coming to the main roster, which was the biggest thing I was afraid of with him. Yeah. That Vince would see him just as another big man, and he'd start taking L's to, guys like Ali or something. But that was one thing I was happy with the switch of power and Triple H being in charge, that, they stayed true to who Gunther was, and, he wouldn't lose any of that aura of invincibility. He's going to take an L at some point, but his matches have been amazing, and the way he's been winning, everybody can buy in that this guy is, as indestructible as it gets, and he gives and he gets, and it's not like and other giants like Andre or Big Show, he could barely make a dent in him,
Yeah.
and it just makes the matches that much better when you can knock him down, but he's not going to stay down. He's going to keep rising up like a horror movie monster, and eventually he's going to kill your hero. So
probably early Royal Rumble favorite, right? I mean, he went toe to toe, or went bell to bell, as they say last year. So I would think early or maybe Money in the Bank next year if they don't want to give him the Royal Rumble win. But I really see big things happening for him. Don't know what that means for the rest of Imperium, but hey, Gunther should be a person for the time being. So, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn put their titles on the line, Greg. They did defeat the Judgment Day. A lot of chaos in that match. We almost had to talk about the next match because you had Rhea Ripley take out Raquel, and that kind of knocked her down. So now Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, Greg, are new women's tag team champions. So let's start there first because either Raquel's really hurt or they were fine. I mean, Sonya's probably been due for something, right? I mean, we've seen so much work of Sonya. So I'm okay with giving her tag team titles, Greg, because, she did. I mean, she's come a long way from her, Street Fighter looking person to really fleshing out a character now. And of course, Chelsea Green is Chelsea Green. she is who she is, Greg. I kind of feel like this is probably her, like they said, dialed up, 100% or whatever. But pretty cool to see Matt Cardona. He's been sharing the women's tag team title on his Instagram story, so it should be. I think the writing is on the wall there, Greg. That we'll see Matt Cardona at some point in WWE. He was actually there in Atlanta, Greg, and he brought up, he never wanted it to be about him. I think he was on the Sam Roberts, radio, whatever, with Chelsea. He said, he got kind of snuck in and snuck out because he wanted to be there for her, which is really, of course, cool to hear and great to hear about because, right now it is all about her in WWE. He's got his own thing going as the indie god. But anyways, and, it looks like we're going to get Rhea and Liv. Do you think we're just trying to hold off for Raquel and Rhea? That's probably the bigger story, so we're probably holding that off, right?
Yeah, I think if she's not truly injured, that may be what they're angling for. Taking the titles off them that quickly after they just won them, it raises some suspicion. Liz just came back from injury, or Liv just came back from injury, and now Raquel has one. So it's like something doesn't add up. But unless she actually does have an injury, maybe something happened at a house show or whatnot, and they needed to take the titles off of them. But if that's the case, you figure she'd be out a lot longer than the next few weeks. So that Raquel and Rhea could be, should be percolating, and SummerSlam seems too soon. So I think maybe the next big one to give time for this story to build and let the injury work itself out and add to the buildup. In the meantime, Liv, I've never been a Liv guy. I don't see it. She's trying, her best to flesh out a character, but it's not hitting with me yet. I'm still rooting for them. I want them all to be great, but I still don't feel it with Liv yet. But this is a good placeholder until Raquel gets right, or they let the story unfold as far as that goes. And then as far as Chelsea Green and Sonya winning the championships, totally happy with it. I like them as a team. They make sense together. and the way they work together as a team, um, doing the distraction thing, and it's like the magician, and watch this hand while something's going on over here. The real trick's going on over here, and they seem great at that for a team that's only been together for a couple months. So I actually enjoyed watching this match just because they were so good together, and they seem to be sharing the brain as far as their teamwork and their tandem offense. So, and, and plus the fact that there's really no women's tag team division as it is, as far as a roster of teams waiting to, jump up and challenge them.
You can have the
Why not
moments,
have
get out of matches. You can have Chelsea Green play up like, oh, I didn't get to the arena on time. I can't get into tonight's match. Or something. Like,
yeah,
you can play that off, as far as, until you're ready. I mean, hopefully this is the start of, this is another, we keep saying, when is this going to start, Greg, the women's tag division? But, we'll see.
right.
So.
They have an iconic feel to them.
Yeah.
That's what they feel like to me watching them.
Yeah. But at least you have Sonya Deville as a legit, she can go in the ring. And Chelsea Green can hold her own. I know, like I'm sure I'm surprised you didn't bring up Greg. You didn't bring up Lucha Underground, right? Wasn't she? Was she in that at some point or not?
Chelsea?
Yeah. Was she Sexy Star or not, or was that somebody else?
No, she wasn't Sexy Star.
Okay. So maybe she wasn't.
I don't remember her being in Lucha Underground at all.
Maybe she never did make that. But I know she's a hot mess in TNA and Impact. I know she did a lot of character stuff in there. So, and I thought she was the physician in a segment with Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella when they were trying to make that work. So yeah. Viking Raiders win a Viking rules match. We're still going to push this. Some great action. How about Maxine taking a table spot, Greg? Maxine is really putting in the work, isn't she?
She is, and she's earning her stripes. So I'm giving her props.
And Sarah Logan finally got to do some stuff instead of just stand there.
Well, this is how you get over it. This is how you get you street cred with the universe. Is that you start taking some bumps, and doing the thank yous and all that stuff is cute, but you gotta take your licks before we let you in the club. So Dominic went through it, and look at him. That's the case with everybody who comes in, and you gotta take your bumps or your stripes, and then we'll pay you some respect. So, but proud of it. It looks good.
After that,
right?
Shayna Baszler won. Nikki Cross. She just keeps putting out cryptic tweets, as they say, Greg. Do you think the writing is on the wall for her to maybe be on the way out?
Yeah, I mean, she's a member of the job squad now. I mean, if that doesn't put the writing on the wall, I don't know what does.
But you still need those people to take the L's. So I guess
true.
As long as you're willing to take it, I mean,
it could be good job security for you, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm tipping my 40 for Nikki, because I loved her as Sanity Nikki.
Yeah.
When they were doing the Sanity angle down at NXT, it was amazing. It looked great. And Nikki is by herself. She had some great matches in NXT as Sanity Nikki, and that I think it was Falls Count Anywhere match with Asuka before she came up to the main roster and was undefeated. They had an amazing match. That's my favorite match of hers that I've ever seen, even beyond her winning the championships and all that. And now that Nikki is gone, so I mean, she still has the manic, persona, but it's not anywhere near as good as it used to be. So I think that's it. Either she's going to be happy to be on the job squad, or she's going to be out the door, which bums me out.
Becky Lynch gets a match with Zoe Stark. If she wins, she gets the match with Trish. If she loses, she has to tattoo "Thank you, Trish," Greg, on the chest region. Who in the world? Who thought that stipulation up? Was that that's a Vince McMahon call if there ever was one, Greg, right?
Yeah, it was
Or
very
Vince
cringy.
Russo? Is Vince Russo in Vince's ear magically?
Oof, let's hope not. That was a very cringy segment. When she came up with it, I have three stipulations. Like, okay, here we go. It's gonna be some good stuff. Like, what tattoo? Huh? Uh, just everything just sounded stupid. Having to face Zoe. Okay, yeah, I expected that. Okay,
To get a match with
um,
Trish, yeah.
right. And then you get to face me, and then if I beat you, you had to get a tattoo. Huh? This is where we're going. So it already gives away what's going to happen, and it was a pointless segment at that point.
Mm-hmm. Bronson Reed defeated Shinsuke Nakamura. Thanks, DQ, because no one likes Shinsuke, Greg. Everyone, everyone keeps interfering. You have Ciampa interfere this time. So, uh, yeah, what is wrong with Shinsuke, Greg? Nobody likes him anymore. What's going on there?
I don't know. I mean, he just came back. He should be getting all the W's, and everybody's interfering in his matches. It's I don't know. He's like the Rodney Dangerfield of WWE right
Get
now.
no
So
respect.
no respect.
He's got to come out with the tie, and he'll just start doing this when he comes out there. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn won. They beat the Judgment Day, but there was a lot of shenanigans there. People brought up though, Greg, Dominic Mysterio had quite the week, didn't he? Main event of Raw, main
Yep.
event of NXT, main event of SmackDown. They are shoving him down our throats, Greg. They want us to get Dirty Dom all over us. Wait, that didn't sound right.
I know. I'm proud of what they're doing with him because, like I said, it's all been part of the master plan of detaching him from just being Rey Mysterio's son
Yeah.
to having his own character, being his own man. And when you look at Dom, you don't think about Rey as much anymore. You still do. I mean,
You just
you
want
can
him to get
see,
his ass kicked.
right. And we don't feel bad for wanting that because we know he's Rey Mysterio's son. He's done a
Yeah.
great job of going to the dark side and being as heelish as possible. And we've enjoyed booing him out in the stadium. And he's been doing a masterful job. So, as I want to boo him out the building too. So he's doing his job, and it's that old adage that, it doesn't matter if they cheer or boo as long as they do one of the two because no reaction is the worst reaction, and he is
Yeah.
getting all the reaction every time he says a word into the microphone, which I love those spots. That and he needs to keep working it, and he's going to be fine. So he's taking advantage of that, and which is what I hope they do with LA Knight. But they're doing it with Dom right now, and um, taking advantage of that fan heat and making it worse by putting the title on him. And I can't say I'm hating on him beating Wesley because it was Wesley. So it's spreading that animosity down to NXT. I'm good with that too.
Well, that's what I was going to start right there. Dirty Dominic Mysterio is our new North American Championship. Was featured on TV last night. There was a few NXT stars in the arena, Greg. Just
Yep.
with it being in Orlando, hop skipping away from the Performance Center. A lot of them probably live in the Tampa Bay area, so they probably could just make the drive over there. But nothing beats Wes and Dragon Lee is sitting together, Greg, two brothers from another mother, right? The Lee
Exactly.
brothers. But anyways, too bad Keith Lee wasn't there. Could have had a trifecta, please. So Dirty Dom wins. New North American Championship. Sounds like Judgment Day will be, pushing all the. So all we need is Finn to win on Saturday, August 5th, Greg. Which, yeah.
You got my vote. Is it going to
I
happen?
know, yeah.
No, but you got my vote for that happening. Just for the fact that Finn with the championship and Damien with the Money in the Bank briefcase standing
I
right
think
next
that's,
to him.
yeah. That needs
Oh
to happen.
man, it would be so epic. It would be so epic. And I know Seth hasn't had the title very long, but this is for the greater good. put Seth back in chase mode, and then you have the main plot of Finn and Priest standing next to each other, one holding the title and one kind of side eye going, okay, this is going to be mine as soon as I catch him slipping.
And you have the full circle of Finn regaining a title at SummerSlam. So the bigger story's there, and I think they have to pull the trigger on it. But
yeah,
some other things from NXT. How about I want to jump to the Thea Hale stuff, Greg. She asked for a submission match with Tiffany Stratton. In my memory banks of Tiffany Stratton matches, Greg, I don't know if she has a submission, does she?
I agree. I don't think I've ever seen her submit
anybody. Learn one. Because they're not dropping the title on her, right?
I don't know. I mean, Thea Hale seems to have that grassroots support again.
All the momentum, yeah.
Like Dom, like LA Knight, people are all of a sudden just 1,000% behind her. So, Tiffany losing it wouldn't be such a bad thing at this point. I mean, I was the same way. It's like I couldn't picture Thea Hale winning, but the work they've done the past few weeks is like, okay, I'm in it. I can see it.
Now you do have the avenue too that WWE loves their first ever or the
youngest ever.
Yeah, stipulate the asterisks. So I mean, but yeah, you got to think Tiffany's going to figure out a way to win because I think it's too soon. I'm not worried. Thea Hale right now is just too much of a side bit character. She's not like Dominic, where I think there's still a lot to build up there.
I agree, but this is where that breakout moment happens.
That could be, yeah.
She puts down a banger with Tiffany, which I have my doubts about, but that's the point in showing us that she can tap Tiffany out. Is that puts that doubt in your mind and makes you wonder, okay, how is Tiffany going to do this? Yeah. And it makes it better because at any moment, she could be in a hold and switch that Kimura in the midst of another hold and boom, you got it. So same thing with Brock and Cody. Is that Cody's trying to do a cutter, Brock catches him and turns him up halfway, and boom, now you got the Kimura on. So it could come out of nowhere. And being an MMA guy, I'm watching these Kimuras and going, okay, that was a real one right there, or that one sucks.
I think that's what's funny too. You have Brock Lesnar doing that. You doesn't Ronda Rousey can do it, and now you have Thea Hale do it. Two of these things are not like the other, as the old Sesame Street song used to say, Greg.
Right.
But anyway, she does make it look legit. She's got the face on and all that, but I'm also like, okay, you're my size, and you're putting on this Kimura on
right. But you had the fact that she was trained by Gulak and
that's true. Yeah.
And Dempsey.
You could play that up too. Yeah.
About how to do those. They'd spent plenty of time with that whole little training bit.
And you could have Tiffany maybe working with them to try to figure out something. And then that keeps the Chase U and Gulag and Dempsey stuff going. So.
Right. So
it'd also be a good time. Too bad they couldn't bring in William Regal, Greg. I mean, what a get for that would be to have him show up on screen with Tiffany. As a heel, because obviously he's better as a heel. I loved him as GM, but him, maybe working with Tiffany to teach her some submission. So, hopefully in the next week or so, maybe they give us something like that. But I kind of feel like we'll get some shenanigans to get Tiffany to win there. But how about tag teams? A rough day for tag teams, Greg. Los Lotharios are breaking up already, it looks like. I do think the Scripps and Axiom stuff is probably not as big because you had Axiom say, well, we're not a tag team anyway. So Scripps is like, well, F it. I'm going to take you out anyway. But, what do we think of? I think Los Lotharios breaking them up is way too soon. They kind of reemerge on the scene. You had them looking like they're going after tag team titles, but that looks like they're just going to break them up. Then again, it could be that, well, we got to cut some weight, Greg. And either one of those guys probably is on the way out, right?
Yeah, you know what bums me out about that, if that's the case, is that match, and I expected nothing out of that match, but that match with Umberto and shoot, I can't think of dude's name now.
Garza?
The two Garza, yeah, the Los Lotharios, as they used to be called.
Yeah.
And Frazier and Dragon Lee, that was an amazing match. That match was a 5-star banger. I mean, and I expected nothing out of it. I thought it was going to be another little 5 or 10 minute bunch of nothing, but that match was amazing. And, you know, I went from being, you know, passively watching it to being glued to the screen. And, you know, even though they lost, those, you know, that tandem work, the spots, the story they told, everything was great. The false finishes, you know, everything. There's 3 or 4 great false finishes at the end. And at the end of that match, I was like, that was an amazing match. That may be one of the best matches I've seen in a while. You know, yeah, put that in the top 5 of, you know, matches I've watched in the last month or so. Yeah. Easily. And to see that they do the, you know, starting to blame each other, and, you know, one pushes the other, and it's like, you can't break them up now. That was an awesome match. You know, this is what you want to put some depth to the tag team division. And so it seemed like a waste if you're going to have a match like that and then split them up. So I hope that's not the case, because, you know, if they keep having matches like that, then they should be back on the main roster in no time. So I don't know what to make of it.
And then Kiana James defeated Gigi. Looks like we're going to have to put that purse on a whole match, Greg, because that purse keeps getting into play. So I'll be curious to see what they'll kind of use that. But and then what about Bronco and Lucien getting the debut? Two kind of neighborhood guys, Greg. Do you think Scripps is going to join them? He kind of walked out with them, right?
Yeah, he did. Walked out on his partner and went to, you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah.
Side of things. I don't see it. They've been Bronco and whatever his partner's name is, Lucien. They've seemed to be two, you know, we're brothers. We're, you know, came up together. We're from the streets, and, you know, then throw Scripts in there. Like, yeah, me too.
I was wondering if it's almost like that little puppy dog, like in the cartoons. Like
right.
In Tom and Jerry, you have the 2 big dogs, and then you just have him. I mean, if he wants to be like a manager type, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
he really doesn't do anything in the ring for me, so.
Yeah, it doesn't look right for me. It doesn't fit right. So if he ends up being part of their team, it's like, why? Yeah. He doesn't look the part. He doesn't feel the part, and he definitely doesn't wrestle the part. Those two do. So I hope that's not the case. And he's just bouncing on his partner.
Yeah. And then Oro Mensah defeated Eddie Thorpe. The other big news was Gable Stevenson's going to announce his future, Greg. I think that should be big. But going back to Oro, what do we think of Noam Dar? When is he going to stop the Linda McMahon gimmick from whatever that was? Remember when she was in the wheelchair and she was supposed to be like convalesced or something, Greg? And then I think it was the match. Was it Vince and Shane? Maybe at WrestleMania she ends up slapping Vince and all that. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, Trish came to her side and all that. So when do we think Noam Dar finally snaps out of this? Whatever he's in, his downward spiral in the wheelchair, Greg.
Yeah. Whatever the opportune moment is to screw Frazier out of his championship, then all of a sudden he's going to be miraculously healed and, you know, hit him with something, or, you know, to cause Frazier to lose it, maybe to Mensah or something like that. So it'll happen just in time for him to screw Frazier over.
Yeah. And then what about Gable Steveson? Do you think do you think they're going to make his future actually known, Greg, or is it going to be like a cloudy future?
Yeah, I don't think they would announce it if he wasn't going to say, "Okay, I'm going to be a wrestler now."
Yeah.
We haven't seen him on TV for over a year since the his Olympic win and being declared that he's going to be a WWE superstar a few months from being drafted, and so I think he's going to announce for sure he's going to be a WWE superstar now.
Unless they love the NXT loves their mysterious attackers, Greg. I'm going to predict that he gets knocked out in the parking lot or he gets knocked out in the ring. I don't think they totally know what they want to do with him yet.
Well, like I said, that you mentioned the next Olympics going to be coming up soon.
That's I can see him maybe wanting to go for another run at that.
Yeah. And that would be another 2 years if that's the case.
Yeah, but then again, that's a lot of time away.
Right.
Do you think the ship is sailing on him?
No, because
it hasn't started, right? Yeah. So.
Right. So it's a matter they can start it anytime they want, and
yeah, that's true.
I think now is a great time to do it because he is just now coming off his Olympic win in miraculous fashion, and people look at him to still remember it because it just happened. So if they wait another 2 years, people are gonna be like, "Who?" And they're gonna have to run tons of video packages to remind everybody who he is and what he did. So it's gonna have to wear those medals, Kurt Angle style, to keep reminding people. So I think the right thing to do is to move now and get him cracking, and get him to superstar. So he seems ready for it.
Yeah, it's time to put up or shut up, as they say, Greg. So.
Exactly.
Some stuff happened on SmackDown, so we're gonna get the triple threat match that we didn't realize we would get, and it's weird because they kind of announced this in the day, Greg. So it will be Charlotte, it will be Bianca, and it will be Asuka, all going one-on-one. So, oh my goodness, I put on the wrong thing. That's awesome. Okay. Apparently I forgot my SmackDown slides, Greg. So I greatly apologize on that. So, hopefully I'll remember. I'm going to bring up the actual results. This is what I remember on the actual WWE page. The results didn't come up at first. So, and they're still not there. Okay. We'll just have to kind of play it up because I'll have to try to remember stuff. But anyways, so just ignore whatever's on the screen right now because that is last week's. But anyways, so I was getting into triple threat women's match, Greg. Asuka got the better end of it last night, though. She put out Charlotte. What are we thinking? We needed the triple threat, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what I thought was going to happen all along. That Bianca and Charlotte were going to keep getting each other. Try it again.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. We're going to keep getting in each other's way, and Asuka was going to be the beneficiary of that. Collecting these wins while they're getting in each other's way, and it's going to have to be a triple threat, and that's what we're going to get. So, it's exactly what I expected to happen, and now I think that Asuka's going to find a way to win the triple threat, and I'm still sticking with the narrative I pushed out there that Io is going to be aiming for Asuka, and then we're going to get our first, one-on-one between Charlotte and Bianca, because that's a matchup that we haven't seen before, one-on-one. So even in a triple threat, it's still not the same thing. They're going to have moments where they're wrestling each other one-on-one, but with the third person in the mix, it's not a true match between those two. So I think this is where we're going, and it's going to be great because you're going to have Bianca and Charlotte for the first time, and you're going to have Io and Asuka for the first time. So that's what I'm speaking into existence right now. I'm on the right track. I've got everything right so far with the triple threat happening, and I think this is what's going to end up being the result of this whole rivalry between these three.
Escobar and Rey Mysterio, we did bring that up, that they're scheduled to face each other next week, Greg, but you got to think that some shenanigans will happen there. What else? Pretty Deadly. Did they come out? They came out during that that match to kind of, still play that up. Rich Holland is getting a lot of heat, Greg. He did put down, somebody brought up when he dropped Gable, Gargano in NXT. Then he had, Big E's broken neck, and now he's put which one?
Yeah, Elton Prince.
Yeah, he got dropped with the shoulder. So is Rich need to slow down a little bit in the ring, Greg?
I saw that too, and they put clips of all three of those injuries in there. And with Big E, I think that was totally his fault.
Yeah.
And with Gargano, that does a pretty hard landing for that move. So,
and kind of the same thing with Elton. It looked like he just
I think Elton kind of over rotated.
Yeah.
And it just, instead of landing flat, on his chest, he landed on his shoulder and jacked up his shoulder. So I don't blame Ridge as much for that move. But the other two, you can make a very compelling argument. I think a jury would find him guilty on those two moves. The Elton Prince move, not so much, because he was thrown in the air and it's on him to land properly. Yeah. And I think maybe he over rotated or whatever he did, but he took the brunt on his shoulder and popped his shoulder out, or whatever happened. So I don't blame Ridge for that one, but I see that people are blaming Ridge for being too reckless. He's a big dude. He's probably stronger than people think he is.
Mm-hmm.
If he could throw Big E 5 feet, in the air, then, that says something for how strong the guy is.
Oh.
So, and people make the same comparison with Seth. We've forgiven Seth for injuring multiple people. So, it is what it is, but you get more leniency the bigger star you become. So I think people are just hating on Ridge because, he's still newer to the game than Seth is.
Some other things. Let's see. What did I want to bring up? Oh, Bailey and Shotzi. So, we're getting that still kind of cooking in the back burner. Io Sky and Charlotte got a really lot of time, Greg. I was kind of surprised. It felt like that match could have ended like 2 or 3 different times, and it wouldn't have made a sense. But they got some good time in there, didn't they?
It did, and it was a really good match. There was a couple minutes so I thought it could have been finished, but props to them on helping show Io is, as good as she was down at NXT, where she was, I think maybe like the second or third longest reigning, women's champion.
Down there. Yep.
Because I think nobody's going to break Asuka's record anytime soon, but she held it for a long time and just showing, why she's that good.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that match, and
I thought Io was going to get the win.
A couple times they did too. Yeah.
And it would have been okay, because you could have had. Well, I thought it's funny. Some people were tweeting out like Bianca and Catering while Charlotte was getting beat down, so she didn't come out to save. But so yeah, there's a big thing there. What about Jey Uso and Roman Reigns? We're going to get a tribal combat, so anything goes. But then I've seen people say also any Samoan is forbidden from interfering in the match, which is why I think you wanted. I think that's why Roman stopped Solo from hitting the spike, because Roman wants to do this on his own, right? At SummerSlam.
Right, and one more point going back to the Io and Charlotte match. I think that's another reason that they had Io and Charlotte go so long, because when Io EO decides to pivot over to Asuka, we had that match in the back of our mind that just happened, that she took Charlotte to the limit, and now she's getting paired up with Asuka.
Oh,
so it's a great reason for them to do a showcase with EO and Charlotte and throwing her in the mix kind of on the low.
Yeah.
So that's my last point about that, and hopefully this proves my point.
Yeah.
Now going to the tribal combat, love this segment, and if that's the fact that no other Samoan can be involved, I think that's great. And I know there's something to it because, when Roman asked Jay, did you ask the elders about this? And like, this was their idea.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great moment. And if that's what the translation of that means, that no Samoan can interfere, then that means no Solo, no Jimmy, nobody.
No Rock, no Ava.
Yep,
no
nobody. No, unfortunately,
Wait, Paul Heyman can interfere though.
Exactly my point is, unfortunately, Paul is not Samoan. So
Sami Zayn can interfere.
There you go. Roman still has a little advantage there, but love this segment that now the title and the title of Tribal Chief, which is probably the more important title to them, is on the line.
Because he put the actual necklace on the title, and I think that people were making that a very symbolic way of putting things out there too.
Yeah, because we don't know what tribal rules means, but when he put that necklace on there, it's like, oh, okay, now we get it. Yeah. So
and I
enjoyed that.
And and like we said, I think needed that finish to the story for that end. So, my memory banks are that. Anything else from SmackDown that really we need to bring up? I know we had Dominic and Butch. I thought they were going to maybe save that for NXT because you had Shawn Michaels out there, or you had him backstage, but he announced that for that. So they, pretty decent match there. Was there anything else?
No, but speaking of Shawn Michaels, going back to NXT for a second.
Yeah.
The rebooting of Corbin. What do you think about that?
I don't get it. It's weird. Like, I don't know where they're going with it still. Because you had him facing himself and like wondering where to go. So, but then it seemed like this horror type movie thing, Greg. So, I don't know. What about you? I'm not into it, I guess, until I see it. What the actual outcome is.
Right. But anytime we can go back and have a character be self-aware, and going, I'm done with this crap, and throws the.
He's being the metaphor, the Meta 5, right?
Yeah, exactly. But he throws the Happy Corbin hat into the fire. Yeah. He throws the King Corbin crown into the fire. Like, this is all stupid crap. The lone wolf jacket into the fire. And it's like, now I'm just going to be me. I'm going to be authentic, true Baron Corbin, and you better watch out. And so I dig it from that perspective. You guys are giving me all these stupid gimmicks, and I'm done with it.
And I'm still here, I guess, too.
Right. So what's he going to come out to? What's it going to look like? What's going to be the Titanic shift that we're going to get now? Now it's got me interested in seeing.
I guess that's the thing. He's already bald. You can't do anything hair-wise.
True.
Like, is he gonna? Maybe he'll be Luch, Funkadel, the Tyrus character, Brodus Clay. We're going to get a killer, and we got a walking dinosaur. So who knows? But let's get some commercial breaks in before we get going on. I did bring up the Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor results, Greg. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I still think the results kind of speak for themselves. So we could talk that up and then get to AW News, Blood and Guts. Saw the Golden Elite take the win there and talk that up. So let's do our commercial breaks and then get right back to you. Oh, by the way, thank you for Big Ben. Our loyal fan is finally making his way back into the chat. So good to see him there. He is about 30 minutes away from home or from Tampa. So we'll see if we can get some Monday night talk from him if he makes it there to Tampa Bay for Monday Night Raw. So and
Nice.
also did secure Fastlane tickets, so I'll be going to that. And Undertaker tickets, I needed to bring that up in my last call as far as what that means for that. So commercial breaks first, teases last, and have at it.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSPORTS1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
All right, so Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor results, Greg. Gravity won a match, and he gets to face Pac on Wednesday night because, remember, Greg, Gravity is the thing that Neville forgot or whatever that saying was. So there we go. All comes full circle with that. Samoa Joe keeps winning. I cannot wait for this Twisted Metal series, Greg. I don't know why. It just keeps waiting in the back of my mind. I'm like, oh, yeah, that comes out pretty soon. So I'm pretty excited. I don't remember. Did you say you think you'll give a watch to this Twisted Metal series, Greg? Did you ever play the game?
I did play it a couple times.
Yeah.
I didn't become fanatic about it, but I did enjoy playing it. And of course, the one I play all the time was the dude in the ice cream truck. So
Sweet Tooth.
exactly, and so I will definitely watch it just for Samoa Joe alone, and I hope it's a good series. And but I'll definitely check it out for sure.
Speaking of random game, well, I'll leave that. Never mind. I don't want to get sidetracked. But anyways, Aussie Open, they won the ROH World Tag Team titles. I think that's huge, Craig, because we kept wondering, when are they going to get the, all elite status? I think the writing's on the wall there, isn't it?
Well, it's definitely going to happen. They're into the Tony Khan universe now with getting in on the Ring of Honor action.
Yep.
And holding some titles. So, yeah, I think it's just a fait accompli at this point. That
I guess I am worried. Do we get
we're going to see it?
Ospreay and Omega 3 come all out?
Oh boy, I hope so.
Yeah.
Because that match that they had was at this point, in July. That
July
may be match of the
22nd.
year right now.
Yeah.
That may be my front runner for match of the year. So, but I want to see another one. Absolutely, give me all that. Just put it in a syringe and put it in my veins. I need more of that. And I think everybody who watched that match probably feels the same way. So, Uh, whatever you want to give me, Osprey Omega 3, give it to me. I'd see the London cart would be a great time to do it.
Yeah.
With it being, Wembley, being on their, kind of home turf, it'd be a great spot to have it. But you need a big stage for that. That can't just happen on a Dynamite. You need that on a big stage, on a big event. So, but yeah, I need that to go down sooner than later.
Mogul Embassy keeps winning their 6-man title. Shibata, picked up a win over Daniel Garcia. Dark Order, Greg, they're picking up some wins. They won the Fight Without Honor, which is like a no rules match. And Evil Uno put out a couple tweets. His mask was ripped, had a bloody eye. Maybe Dark Order finally gets going, Greg.
Yeah, I believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
First, I want them to change their name, unless they're going to become a true evil faction. Yeah, they need to take Dark out, period, because it doesn't ring true.
What about the New World Order? I heard that's a nice name.
Yeah, but good luck getting the pay the copyright fees on that one.
The Neo Globe Order.
That would be a very Dark Order thing. Yeah, let's again the -1 faction. Maybe we do something with that. So
yeah, negative order.
The negative ones. There you go.
Yeah,
you can
-1.
And -1 is your mascot. So
he's gonna be wrestling before we know it, Greg. I bet. So
absolutely.
If Nick Wayne can do it at 18, I think he's 10 or 11 now. So man, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be awesome to kind of see what he ends up. In a few years, Greg, he might be sick of all it. And just maybe it was too soon, too early, but I kind of think it won't be that way for him.
I know. He's like the youngest kid. His future has already been chosen for him. It's like, you have no choice, buddy. This is what you're doing.
Maybe the Hardy sons.
That's it. They're taking bumps right now. They're in the.
Well, there was the match. Did the baby pin somebody? I think in Impact at one point.
Yeah.
It was Max Seal.
Yeah, one of those.
One of them.
Yeah. One of those Hardy compound matches. Yep.
He pinned somebody. So there you go. He wasn't Aubrey Edwards and go 1-0, but Claudio picks up a win over Pac, but I still, and we'll of course talk about what Pac had to do on Dynamite. Greg kind of fell apart there, the blood and guts match, but and then we do have to bring this up. So the World Championship actually main evented, and Ian, the announcer, I can never say.
Yeah, Riccaboni.
He brought this up. Women of color in a title match. I mean, that's pretty huge, Greg. I mean, who would you think of Ring On, or I mean, the last thing unfortunately, I don't think of people of color in Ring of Honor. You don't see that. So that was huge for them to main event, and a really fantastic match from what I read and saw here and there. So Athena's very emotional. They said at the press conference about it. So I'm sure Willow Nightingale, we'll sit down and think about it. But pretty cool to see that was your main event last night, Greg.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see any of it, so I didn't know any of the results of what happened. But that would be be able to close the show. Two black women, the same as when they did it in when Sasha and Bianca did it at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So no less significance because of the company. It's still a big deal when the people that run the show, who are being 95% white, puts you in that spot. So big props to them for they put in the work, they put in the sweat, and their efforts getting paid off. So I'm not the biggest Willow Nightingale fan, but I'm coming around on her, and putting her in spots like this is what's
I
going
was
to
gonna say she must be doing something right, Greg, because she keeps getting in these spots.
exactly,
So,
exactly, and
the
I'm
crowd
starting to come around on her.
and Athena keeps winning. So, and and like I brought it up. I think this might be a little more significant than when Bianca and Sasha main evented, just because you have that aura of Ring of Honor. I mean, and they've only really added women recently, maybe in the last couple of years or so.
Hmm.
So it's that's pretty big to see that they got the main event and put on a banger of a match. So, Collision from last week. FTR won. Willow did win. The Owen Hart. That was a surprise, I think, Greg, beating Ruby, right?
Yeah, that was a surprise because we thought this was all about Ruby getting her redemption after losing in the finals last year, and yeah, so when Willow got that pinfall, I was like, wow, okay, that was out of nowhere. But Willow's been on smoking hot from beating Mercedes to you know last night,
Just getting
and
over.
yeah, getting
And
over
beat
with the fans.
herself. Like there's no, it just herself.
So I'm proud of her, and the fact that the two that we thought were going to win didn't win was a big shock. Because usually you get one surprise and one okay, figured that um, in these tournaments, and both of them went the surprise route, and the Starks and Punk was even a bigger surprise.
Yeah. FTR, they just keep FTR Bullet Club Gold just keep delivering for tag team matches. Greg, Malachi Black and Brody King won, and then I pulled the trigger on Ricky Starks, Greg, and they
You
did it.
did.
Now he did the. It's weird that they gave him the kind of cheap win. Maybe you can play that up down the road. Maybe CM Punk wants a rematch just in a way,
Hmm.
and then maybe Ricky gets legit. But and then I think they showed. Justin Thunder Liger there for like 10 seconds, I heard. I think I turned it over by the time Justin Liger was on there, Greg. But Ricky Starks pulled the cup out of his hands. So I like how they both went for the cup. Willow Nightingale just left the belt sitting there and just walked off with the cup, and then Ricky walks off with the cup. So I think I'd rather walk off with the title because it's going to be easier to carry on the plane. But whatever. So Ricky Starks gets the win, though, Greg, over CM Punk. That was a big surprise, and now we'll have to see if they actually, like Willow keeps getting big spots. Does Ricky finally get a TNT title shot, or North? What's the international title? Whatever I forgot. What's the full name? Whatever they're calling it now. Not the All Atlantic, the All International title. So I think Ricky Starks to get bumped up right in that next level. So give your own thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's what they need to do next is like when they do this next year, and I'm sure they will, is that they need to put some stakes on it.
Yeah.
The winner of the Owen is going to get XYZ,
Yeah.
and the trophy and the belt are not enough. I mean, you look at the Andre the Giant Memorial. You get the Giant Andre Trophy, but you get nothing else. So we need to know. There's something actual, legitimate, and tangible that you're going to get aside from a cup and a belt that made you want to work this hard to get it. The significance of Owen Hart and so on, but you get a contract against the champion of your choice. You get you know, something just so we know that in the back of our minds as we're watching this tournament play out,
Yeah.
and it, something else that we can associate with it. So I think they need to do that for next year. Put some stakes on there aside from the cup and the cup and the belt. Um, so
Are they making a
that's
new
one
Money in
thing.
the Bank where you can cash in for any title?
Yeah, I mean, or maybe even let Martha choose.
Yeah.
Get her involved in it or something. We assume that Martha is pretty knowledgeable with wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe Martha gifts the winner. You get a match against boom whoever,
Yeah.
and she christens you with a title shot
Mhm.
of some sort. And that way, instead of it being a Money in the Bank kind of thing, Martha is playing Mrs. Santa Claus and giving the winner a present.
Mhm.
I'd be cool with something like that happening.
Yeah.
Um, and
And
so
sorry, go ahead.
I think something like that would be great.
Mhm.
And that way you can, wrap it all up in the Owen Hart, Martha Hart umbrella,
Mhm.
and that would differentiate itself from a Money in the Bank type of thing. And then going back to that first match,
Yeah.
holy crap,
Yeah.
60 minutes with Bullet Club Gold and FTR, holy cow! And it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, because I thought it was going to go to a tie, because it was 1-1 with the falls, and then I was going to get
The
overtime or whatever. But that does screw the rest of the card if that happens. So I get it. The final fall happening in the 59th minute.
Yeah.
But wow, what a match! And like I say, FTR and Bullet Club are showing that they are, the top of the top. So, and was still out to lunch on Bullet Club, because they haven't really impressed me to that end yet. But that match kind of changed my mind, and watching how all that went down. So, wow, what a match with those two.
Yeah. And then just a side note, David Benoit was seen in the crowd right there in the front row, Greg. So very interesting to see um, a Benoit in the front row, because yeah, it's been a while since we've heard um, that name and whatnot. So just a little
Right.
side note there. But
Yeah.
let's
And
get into
speaking of questionable
sorry,
endings, that whole like you said, that Starks and Punk
yeah,
ending,
pulling the tights.
or holding the rope to get the pinfall.
Mm-hmm.
I was certain
We're
that the
not
ref
turning
was.
heel, are we?
It's what it looks like. I mean,
Yeah.
and then going and instead of paying respect to Jushin Thunder Liger, and
Just rips
uh,
the rips the cup out
just
of his hand.
rips it out of his hands and
Yep.
just kind of grandstands right there, and just total disrespect all the way
Yeah.
around. So maybe that's where it's going. It's that he's going to go back to being a heel, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed him as a heel as part of Team Taz, and why not? So that's
Yeah.
that's what it feels like it's doing. When you pull like something like that, you know, CM Punk is in there, so it's not like he was doing it against a true baby face, because everybody was booing CM Punk anyway.
Yeah.
But it was a very heel move to get the win. So just curious to see what they're going to do next, because I thought for sure that they were going to restart the match and Punk was going to win. So when they just let it go, that was probably the biggest shocker
And
of the night for me.
I brought up the young rock aspect of him, Greg, and maybe that's a way to start getting him to toe that line. If heel face and see which way fits him too. Maybe which one is more
Hmm.
comfortable. So, how about some dynamite talk? So this is Blood and Guts. Jungle Boy. How about that intro, that video, Greg? He buries the Jungle Boy gimmick, and then comes out to. They love their classical music and wrestling, don't they? Because
Yep.
I guess it's probably easy to buy too. Especially some of these songs. Like Flight of the Valkyrie for Daniel Bryan at first, and the whatever Walther's first original, classical song. So it's a good way to have those rights, and then you can bump them up to like wrestling style. But he defeats Hook. Greg, do you think he buries that title now?
That would be like, now he's going heel. That would be the ultimate heel move, to go and bury the title that means so much to him and his family,
Yeah.
and it would add so much more gasoline on the fire, which is already there with Hook.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going back to the Corbin thing with him. Like, I'm taking all these terrible
Shedding
gimmicks and
all
I'm
everything.
throwing them in the
Yep.
fire, and he's doing the same thing. Like, I'm taking Jungle Boy and all this stupid song, and I'm burying it. And um, that's what confused me at first, because they played the Jungle Boy song. Like, you said last week that we were done with this song, and then we had the blackout and the video, and you know, dragging the corpse.
The body.
You only see the boots
Yeah.
into and throwing dirt on it, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'll dig it now.
Yeah.
So for now on, we're going to see him with his hair wetted down, and No more of the jungly stuff. Jungle Boy is dead. So
Black pants, black shirt. If he wants to do like a black shirt.
right. So
I mean, I still think I'd like to see him cut off the hair, Greg, but I know that's that's a big selling point. So
that's a huge thing, right there is cutting the hair, but slicking it back or doing the ponytail and wetting it down so it has a whole different look altogether. That has just as good an effect, I think.
Just use a lot of hairspray.
Yeah.
Make it stick. Maybe straighten it out. Maybe you could get some straightener in it.
And being the first man to beat Hook is something that he's going to be able to crow about. And
then when Hook overcomes him, just think how big Hook will get a reaction out of that. So
right.
Baker picked up a win, and nothing there. Just trying to rebuild her. What about MJF and Cole? I'm thinking, Greg, it's going to be Adam Cole pulling the trigger, isn't it?
Who's going to be the one to stab in the back first?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing we're waiting for it to happen. Is like, and when is it going to happen? So we got that first glimpse of it after he got the win.
Bluetooth connected.
And so I love it. That juicy tension right there, right at the end. And it was like I was just giving it to you.
Yeah.
Right. I was just giving it to you. I was like, yeah, he's gonna. And you figure it's gonna be MJF who's the one who screws it all up, but he's such a narcissist that he could actually believe that his shenanigans are actually working. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you that Adam Cole is going to be the one that right as they're about to, the referee's hand is about to fall for 3, giving them the championships, that he's going to knock Max's head off.
Or maybe they don't. Maybe they don't do the double clothesline because they've already hit it now, right? So we've already got that. And then of course the other story is Guevara and Garcia walking out on Jericho. I think that's finally overdue. So we're cutting that cord. Does that mean Jericho will be in the Don Callis family, Greg?
It's looking that way, and we still need to figure out who the Don Callis family is, because I guess we know who it isn't now.
Yeah.
And yeah, we knew it's not. Yeah. And I'm curious to see who this Don Callis family is going to be. But it's starting to look that way. There's going to be some division happening, and got to get your thoughts on the first 5 minutes of that Garcia, Sammy, MJF, Adam Cole
the dance off,
with the dance off. And,
when people bring this up, I mean, and we got to admit, if that happens to WWE, people are crapping all over it, right? That's what's funny. The part where Garcia pops out between Guevara's legs, I was like, oh my God, what? Like, come on. Okay. Like, I do he could do this, that thing where he lands, but he did the between the legs like a baby coming out. And I'm like, oh my God. And then Adam Cole just thrusting all over the place. I was like, what? All right, come on, let's,
It was so great. I loved it so much. I could not stop laughing. And then
when we got into it, it finally, was a pretty decent match. But
yeah, absolutely. But
like we said, the bigger story is who's going to pull the trigger on Cole and MJF, and then, what, is that the final sign that Jericho's like, okay, they want to be on their own, I want to be on my own, because it's been a while since we've seen Jericho on his own, right?
That's true.
I mean, the Inner Circle started
immediately,
pretty soon after. So, all right, So, then I think Jericho, that idea of Jericho just riding with Don Callis and Takeshita, like, just think how much knowledge, like, in a car riding or flying on a plane together, like, how much wrestling knowledge Takeshita's going to get out of that. So I think that's pretty big there. But the Golden Elite pick up the big win. So Pac walks out of this. Moxley gets handcuffed. Lots of thumbtacks. The bed of nails came out, Greg. I was waiting for Kota Ibushi to do a lot. I don't think he was ready for this, Greg, because he did not have. He was the only one clean. Like, everybody at least had dirt on them or had blood, but I don't know if he was quite physically ready for that match, and that's why he didn't get a lot of I mean, he had his moments, but it felt like he was in the background more often than not, right?
Yeah, I agree. And this is one thing I was talking about and was seeing it says a better machine for the Blackpool Combat Club because we don't know what Ibushi does unless you're, a New Japan regular.
Yeah.
I don't know who he is, how he wrestles, what he does. And aside from knowing that he's like one of the 2 or 3 biggest names in Japan, but that doesn't mean he's, that great here.
Yeah.
We need to see something from him. And, he hits hard. We saw that.
Yeah. And that was it.
We didn't see a huge array of moves out of him. We saw him do a backflip on the Moxley while he was laying on the bed of nails.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, he just blended into the background. And I don't know any more about him now than I knew about him, a month ago. Yeah. And so, aside from being, a mega star over there, he didn't show me anything. I have no reason to want to watch more of his matches. So.
And Takeshita, he walked out too, right, with Don Callis of this match?
Yeah, Don Callis came out and called him out of the cage.
Yeah.
So
he had Pac do the Clippers, which I was like, oh, okay. And then, because Pac and Claudio obviously fought last night, so that kind of went that way. So, can Pac be part of the Don Callis family, do you think, Greg?
He could be. I didn't know about them having the match the night before, but I did notice when he came into the ring, he and Claudio kind of faced each other up.
Last night, championship. Like,
right.
That blood and guts built into that. Sorry, my fault.
Yeah, but I was aware that they just had a match against each other, and that's why there was some heat between them. Yeah. But I did notice there was some tension when Pat came in, and the fact that he would just bail was very kind of Pat move. He is the bastard after all. Mm-hmm. So I didn't like the ending because of that. It's best when, it's the gang warfare and, the best team wins. And when 2 of your 5 ditch you at the end, it's kind of anticlimactic at that point. It's like,
but then there also builds up that they were never part of that team anyway. Right.
And so,
now we can really build the Don Callis family, which is what we said all along. Like, you can't have him say, I have a family, but then BCC is still there.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we need new members for BCC?
We do. I mean, we're already down 1 member with Brian Danielson being out, but they do need to add another, if not a couple others.
That Garcia?
And they've already. This would be a perfect time to bring him in.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'm totally down with that. So they definitely need to add some firepower.
Any good spots, Greg, that really caught your eye? Like the bed of nails. It's been a while since we've seen a bed of nails in a match, and I thought that was a pretty good spot. And apparently, Ibushi did do after the match. Greg, there was a fan video of him jumping into thumbtacks. So I guess he could do it. He just didn't want to do it on camera for whatever reason. So, there you go. But any spots that really caught, and I did like Moxley being handcuffed, and not able to help out. Mm-hmm. But Wheeler Yuta taking the L, I think, is he's taken a lot of L's lately after, beating Omega. So, is that telling for him?
No, it's. I think it's more of a sign of respect in a way that because they chose to handcuff Moxley because he's the biggest threat of them all. He came into the ring with what was it, a fork and a screwdriver to start carving people up, and to handcuff him was a very smart move. because it's going to take 2 or 3 of them to hold him down.
Yeah.
And Claudio was already out. And they did a good job taking him out. And Yuta is the guy who won the last match for him, and he had a nice little win streak going for himself. And so kind of single him out. I think it's kind of paying respect. Plus, he wanted to get payback for being the one that pinned Kenny.
Yeah.
So it came full circle. So, I got it. And, nobody makes those spots look better than he does. So it all made sense in that respect. But like I said, it kind of spoiled it for me with the 2 guys, dishing the match, right at the end. But up to that, I loved the whole thing with the violence and the gore, and so I would love to see it again. But we know we're not going to get another blood and guts match. But
not this year.
I love the physicality and the violence.
Some stuff from Rampage. Darby Allin wins the Royal Rampage match. He's going to officially get a TNT title shot on September for All Out, Greg, which is a long ways away when you think about it, but I guess not that long. But so he'll get that. Him and Swerve Strickland still kind of dueling at it, so I guess that's a way to keep that building. And probably Darby and Nick Wayne probably teaming up in the meantime, right?
Yeah.
So
we gotta get Nick Wayne a win.
Yep. The Acclaim pick up a win. They'll get a trios title shot tonight, Greg. Not much there. Johnny TV already eaten L's, so there we go. That was pretty quick. Chris Statlander won too. And then looking ahead to any thoughts on Rampage?
Well, my only issue is I do not want the Acclaim beating the House of Black.
That's tonight.
Do not want that.
I'm guessing that's the main event. Because if you look at the preview, we have Action Andrade Darius Martin, Action Andrade against Bullet Club Gold. So you would assume Bullet Club Gold picks up some win there. FTR is going to be on there, Greg. I'm guessing it'd be nice to have Cole and MJF face them, right? Go a little face off, but we'll see if that happens. We also have CM Punk and Ricky Starks appearances. I'm guessing they're going to talk about their match and maybe build into that rematch. And then the first time ever, Booty Blue against Taya, a girl she looked up to, Greg. So does Sky Blue get the win over Taya there?
No, I'm taking Taya all the way. My girl, she hasn't had best of luck lately, but I'm going to try to wish that into existence, that Taya gets on a win streak.
Yeah, and I think this is all Sky Blue because they're building up as our first ever match against her, Greg. So, and then like you said, AEW Trios Championship, House of Black against the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. The Acclaimed already got the tag team titles, Greg. So I can't, and they really don't have much momentum. So yeah, this is going to be a rough night for them at the office, I think. So, and you wonder if we'll have Harley Cameron play a part somehow, or QTV, QT Marshall, and Johnny TV, and all that. So we could get some shenanigans tonight in that. So, any other thoughts on AEW as a whole, and then we'll get into our last call and wrap up the show.
Yeah, I think that I need to see if the like CM Punk, that this is a House of Black vehicle only.
Yeah,
is a collision that we need to keep them strong, and I did not need to see a championship on Billy Gunn. If it was the Acclaimed and somebody, another young go hard, if it was Sammy Guevara or Garcia or somebody who's on the come up with the Acclaim, that would make more sense. But them and Billy Gunn, absolutely not. I don't need to see that. And it's going to be a good match when the Acclaimed is in there with them. But no, they're not the ones. They're not the 3 to beat this team. So if it is, I'm going to be really disappointed.
And then last call, anything for the good of the matter on your end, Greg, and then I'll get into my last call. It could be wrestling, it could be life, it could be whatever you want as far as last call is concerned today.
All right. Well, I'll say, shout out to Big Ben. Thanks for checking
Yep.
us out.
Mhm.
Shout out to Dan the Man, because I did give him a shout out over the week and propose a staff fantasy football league.
Mhm.
And he said, I'm with it. And, he threw it up in
We're gonna get
our
that going.
group text. So hopefully we can get that popping. Like I said, I had to go out and say, I'm in it. So you're all playing for second. But I hope everybody joins anyway. Uh, get Dan in there, get Damon in there, get it, Tim, everybody. I want everybody in the league. And when I win, I get supreme bragging rights. I want you in there. So make sure you sign up, get your team.
And then on my end, so I got fast lane tickets secured, Greg. And then it came across the waiver the tweets that Undertaker's bringing his one dead man show. He's
Mhm.
going kind of in the Midwest, and there was an Indianapolis date, Greg. So me and my brother got those tickets. We're going to go see the Undertaker do his one man show. I'm going to be very interested to see it, as long as it doesn't get into politics. It will be awesome, because unfortunately, me and Mark do not align politically, Greg, as he's given lots of money to a certain someone that I do not want to say right now, but you can figure out who that is. A
Is he
lot of
orange?
He is orange, and he should be in prison. He's given him and Vince given a lot of money to that guy. But anyways, so
Gotcha.
as long as I don't have to deal with that. But yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to hear the stories and kind of see what he brings to that. And I guess as long as it's not like his Hall of Fame speech where he has a little microphone on the side and looks like a preacher, Greg. But it's coming to Nashville, Cleveland, Indianapolis, and then I think maybe one other place. They're in November, so pretty cool to see. Obviously, there's a lot of requests for it. Normally he does it during um, paper.
WrestleMania season.
Yeah, or like London, he did it during Money in the Bank. So, and I'm hearing he's rumored to be at SummerSlam in some capacity. So, interesting stuff there. So you wonder if he'll do it the night before, do the Detroit show. But so got some cool stuff lined up there, Greg, and wrestling is always good. AEW is coming here too. Dynamite and Rampage. Sorry. I'm going to look at tickets for that and kind of see where they're at for that, because that's pretty reasonable price, and it's nice that they do the meet and greets. They did not do the meet and greets last time, but hopefully this time they do it. And there's a few names like Orange Cassidy. I think has done a lot, so I think that'd be kind of cool to meet him and do a little pose with him, Greg.
Right.
Met Ruby Soho through that before, so that was pretty cool. I think FTR's done it a few times. But I'd be very curious to see how big the line for now. I guess with the meet and greet, they only do so many sold too, Greg. So it's not too bad. But yeah. I think that's really all my end, and got some concerts lined up in August. Going to see a Beatles tribute band, which I'm really looking forward to because I haven't done one of those in ever. So then there's also Yacht Rock review coming, and then the big concert in October will be Queen, which I cannot wait, Greg. That's going to be awesome. So
The Queen or a Queen tribute band?
it is Queen. So it's Roger Taylor on drums, Brian May on guitar, Adam Lambert as a singer, and then I don't think John Deacon is playing with them, but he was the original bass player. So yeah, this is legit. That's awesome. I've seen a tribute band last year, and they did really well. The singer really was Freddie like, Greg. So have you ever seen a trip? What tribute bands have you had the pleasure of seeing?
I haven't watched any tribute bands. I know that there is a Queen tribute band coming to Charleston not long from now, probably about another month or so. But my taste.
I'll find that one that I found, because that one was really good.
Yeah, my taste is a little bit heavier than yours. I saw that Ticketmaster was doing a 4 for $80 promotion. So the ones I've stuck a pin in are Godsmack and Stained.
Okay.
Disturbed is coming on a different show.
Yeah.
They have Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper doing a show together.
Oh,
and Smashing.
Smashing Pumpkins.
And Smashing Pumpkins are coming, and I've seen them before with Marilyn Manson.
Are they
and they're
playing
amazing live.
their big album, the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness? I think in full. Because that's
I haven't
celebrating.
heard that was the
Okay.
case, but if they are, I'd be over the moon
I
because
want to say that's celebrating a anniversary because I thought they're playing that, but I could be wrong. So,
absolutely.
quick take? What is your thoughts on? Some people hate album shows, but I actually like if it's an album you really love. I
Right.
actually like hearing it live because there's some songs that you've never heard live. So I'm actually into the idea of an album show, but I also think, I can see the other aspect where sometimes they have to cut it shorter with some of the other songs you want to hear. Like I
Yeah.
saw Less Than Jake, which is a ska punk band. They played Hello Rockview in full, and there were songs I hadn't heard live. So that was kind of cool to see. But what is your quick take on album shows, Greg? Are you a fan of them, or you just like all the hits in one night?
No, I love the idea, especially when it's an epic album that's being covered. I've
Yeah.
seen two of them.
Yeah.
I saw Queensryche
Okay.
do Operation Mindcrime in full,
Okay.
and Operation Mindcrime is amazing. It's probably
Yeah.
my favorite album by Queensryche. So hearing that all cover to cover
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah.
And I saw Taylor Swift during the Reputation tour. She played every song from the Reputation album. So, and I love that. So I'm 2 for 2 as far as seeing a couple epic concerts that we're playing every song on this album.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen often. So, as long as it's not every everybody's doing it, then I think we're fine. So
Yeah.
this is a special occasion. So,
Yeah.
and
Well,
then
I was
Pumpkins
looking.
are doing the Melancholy double album.
Yeah.
Man, first of all, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I don't know if that's going to happen
So
because those are pretty
maybe I
lengthy albums.
misread that somewhere, but yeah, I forgot that is the double album. But,
Yeah.
and then I'm a big Green Day fan, and they're celebrating 20 years of American Idiot next year. So I think they're going to play that in full on tour, and I think that. And there's some songs on there that they probably never played live, so I think that would be kind of cool to see. Because I think next summer's my big one. I think because I know Foo Fighters are going to go out on a legit tour, and I know Green Day is going to go out on a tour, Greg. So hopefully they're spread out, so I can spread out my funds. But yeah, those are the two. I'm like keeping my fingers crossed and seeing what's going to happen with those concerts next year. But yeah, so. Well, there we go. Last call, last in. The Superkickin It page. I've been trying to get that popping off, so we'll have a schedule there for your viewing pleasure if you follow that. I've been putting up a couple videos this week, and going to keep them going. Monday is Beyond the Mat Monday. I'm going to talk up, Greg, the Beyond the Mat movie because that's where the namesake I got for that is. So that was a really eye opener for me. As far as documentaries. So, and I did forget to mention this, Craig. I saw the Abdullah the Butcher Dark Side of the Ring episode, and man, that was the big thing I got from out of him was he never graduated from grade school or middle school or high school. He stopped going to school after second grade and just picked up jobs. And supposedly never learned to read or write, but Mick Foley brought up he knew how to read a menu. So
I bet.
So you picked,
yeah. So
and then you got to wonder like contracts, like I don't think he ever had an agent or anything. So I don't. Yeah. But if you ever seen the Dark Side of the Ring, that is it's kind of it's kind of depressing to watch at times, Greg, but it does open your eyes to. Like I said, Abdullah, I never really knew the fork aspect from John Moxley. Obviously, came from Abdullah because he used to carve people up with the fork. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. One there. I forget what is coming next week, but I thought I was.
Oh, Cody's coming.
Yeah, that one.
Not a Dark Side of the Ring, but there's one on Cody.
Yeah, that's going to be a 2-hour, and I think that's because apparently there's BTE footage allowed in it. So.
Nice.
That should be interesting to kind of see what that's all about. I think that will be just available to stream the 31st. So, and we haven't got one of those in a long time, I think, from WWE. So that's pretty cool to see that. So, and
Yeah,
I know
I think Ric Flair's was the last one. So
and A&E, the TV show usually does, or the channel usually has Superstar Sundays when they were doing, those hour episodes of different people, and then the most treasured show where they they try to get merchandise back from people. I was hearing they usually lowball people, but what do you expect? So,
of course,
yeah. So I've been meaning to check that one out because I usually love the American Pickers and Storage Wars, but I just haven't made it around to watching any of those. Sit down and watch them. So, but yeah, that's it. Catch us next week. Another week towards the end of July, and the week after that will be SummerSlam Saturday. Hard to say Sunday, but SummerSlam was August 5th, Greg. So another big prediction show coming up. So
yeah.
thank you for watching, and thank you for being a part of this, and keep it going. So talk to you guys later.